Hi, welcome to What's on Your Minds. I'm Peter Snowart, and today I'm going to give you somebody who is originally born in Finland, now lives in the most beautiful city in the world, Ghent. Her name is Jenny Björklöf. She is one of the driving women behind the freelance community in Belgium, and she is sharing lots of tips when you want to become a freelancer, and she is sharing her journey with us. Enjoy this very inspiring woman.
Welcome to What's on Your Mind with Peter Snowart. Every week, a guest talks about his or her story, and that story can inspire you to change your own. Here's Peter.
Hi, Jenny.
Hi, Peter.
We're going to start with a very easy question.
Yes.
How are you doing?
I'm, as always, excellent.
Okay, cool. Now, what are we? February, beginning of March almost, 2021. Maybe that this question has been you asked quite a lot, but I'm going to ask you anyway. This whole Corona thing, is this for you something, is that an opportunity from a professional or private point of view? Or is it more like, a challenging thing where you are suffering and you have to, rebuild everything that you are doing? How do you see that whole?
I see it as both. It's a blessing and a curse. It's something positive and negative. It's proof that the only constant is change.
Okay.
And that it's better to be adaptable before anything else. So for me, professionally, I have worked remotely already for some years, ever since I became a freelancer. I've tried to work remotely as much as possible to have as much freedom as possible. So for me, it's positive in a way that now it's accepted and it's normal to work remotely. But at the same time, I miss people.
Yeah, you can imagine that. So you do everything is remote done right now for you?
Yes. So before, my agenda was full in the evening with networking events, and that's not happening anymore.
Okay. Now, you mentioned already the word freelancers, networking. Where did you get that passion?
I think I've always had entrepreneurial dreams.
Is that because you were raised in a family?
Yes. So both my mother, she used to have an antique shop.
Okay.
And my father, he used to run his own business, and he was doing concrete floors.
Okay. So, and in that way, they inspired you to, for you it was quite easy. Once I'm graduated from university, I'm going to start my own company.
It wasn't that linear. It was more like, I want to start a business, but I have no idea what I want to do.
Okay, that's an interesting one. How did you discover? I mean, I'm not going to ask what are your passions, but how did you discover what was your thing in terms of freelancing?
It's a long story, but I will share it. I was working at Volvo Trucks, a big corporation, and I always had my entrepreneurial dreams. And I was a bit tired of wanting to do so many things and improve so many things, but there was always a lack of time, money, resources, or willingness. And so when my cousin called me from Ireland and asked me, "Hey, Jenny, I want to start a business, but I don't have time. Can you come and do it for me?" I thought, this is a perfect opportunity for me to discover what it really is to start a business and to do it in a risk-free way, because she paid me a small wage.
Okay.
So I thought, okay, let's do it. So I moved to Ireland. I was really in a crossroads at Volvo then, because they offered me a full-time contract, and I was even looking at buying houses and stuff. And then I got this offer. And then I thought, what will I be more glad that I did in 5 years or in my grave? And then I thought, no, we have to do the wild thing. So I quit my job and left Belgium. I'm originally from Finland.
Yeah.
And I left Belgium and went to Ireland to start a business in setting up garden houses garden house offices, like she caves or man caves in the garden. And then I went from having 200 colleagues and knowing exactly what to do every day to being just me and not knowing anything. And I was thinking, like, how do people deal with this? And then I thought, I have to do something called networking. And I started to look for networking opportunities, and I couldn't find anything that really fit.
But why was the networking so? How did you discover that networking? Yeah, so
I was thinking that the best way that I can learn how to do this the best way is to talk with people who have done it before.
Yeah, makes sense.
And I was thinking, like, so how do I find these people? That's through these kinds of networking events. And I couldn't find anything that was fitting my own situation. I found like a chambers of commerce kinds of things, and I thought they are a little bit too stiff, boring. Then I found that was at the time when it was the tech startup scene was booming. And then I thought, I'm a woman in construction. I don't really fit with these beer drinking tech IT nerds.
T-shirts wearing thing, sneakers.
And then I found like these female entrepreneurship clubs. Cool. And again, I was like, but that's like shooting myself in the foot. I need input from everyone. Mm-hmm. And then I found something called Entrepreneurs Anonymous.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, this is perfect for me. This is meeting for free in the pub once a month. You hear a founder story and you meet interesting people. Everybody is welcome. So I thought, okay, this is what I want. But the problem was it was 300 kilometers away from me.
Okay.
So I thought I will not drive there and back just for that. So I called the organizer and said, hey, can you please come and organize it in my city in Ireland? And then he said, no, but you can. And that's how I discovered my passion.
Ah, cool. That's a cool story.
So I realized with my cousin's business, which wasn't really going so well, that maybe I wasn't so good at running my own business, but I'm damn good at supporting other people building their dreams. And I had a skill for remembering people, what they want and their challenges and their names, and then being able to connect them with each other so that they could forward each other. And I started organizing these events, and I realized that the hardest part about organizing networking events is actually getting people to come.
Okay, why? Because people are afraid of networking. They think it's sleazy. The people are trying to sell something. They don't like talk to strangers.
Those are the aspects, but also you compete with time. So people are busy.
Okay.
So you have to have a compelling enough reason for people to actually spend time.
Unless you are bringing some guests, which is quite attractive.
Indeed. So I started experimenting with all these, like how to bring content, how to create websites so that people get attracted to come. So I also, while organizing events, I also kind of self-learned all kinds of things around digital marketing, because every event is like a little business in itself. Mm-hmm. So I learned copywriting, I learned a bit of design, I learned how email marketing works, how community building works, and all this. And then after 1 year in Ireland, I came back to Belgium.
Was there a reason that you came back?
I was in a relationship, and it was a long distance relationship. So that was, I was really thinking, do I continue building my life in Ireland, or do I go back to Belgium? And Belgium felt more like home.
Ah, cool. Now, networking. For networking for me is also the fact that when you go to physically, of course, to an event, you bump into people by accident, which is I think that's the great part, the fun part of it. I mean, can you replicate that in a virtual environment?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
I try to do that in all my online events.
And
So I use, for
yes.
example, the Belgian company Conversation Starter. Then it's maybe not so random who you meet because you will actually know who you're meeting with. But you can also do it in a sort of like chat roulette kind of
Yeah,
thing. For example, in Zoom breakout rooms, then you
yeah,
can
yeah, yeah.
meet more random people. I also try to prompt people to add, for example, their LinkedIn profiles in the chat so that at least you can connect with the other participants, because I think it's so sad when you have a webinar and you have a connection there, you have a common interest, but you don't know who they are. So then when people put at least their LinkedIn profile in the comments, then at least you know who's there.
Cool.
And also that you put your full name in the
Yeah, okay,
participant list.
okay. Now, for you personally, I mean, how long have you been doing this freelance networking community?
Well, when I came back to Belgium, that was about 5 years ago.
Okay.
So then I worked 2 years together with a startup investor as a project manager. And then after that, I went freelancing. So I've been freelancing for about 3 years and a bit. And that's also how long I've been running the Freelancers in Belgium
And
community.
how did your life change like, from starting 3 years ago and now? What were the things that you did not expect? I mean, I can expect that now everybody knows Jenny B, that you're so known for that. But what are the side effects that you did not expect? For instance, I mean, like I just mentioned in the pre-conversation, I do this because I'm very passionate about it, because I really love it. And that's, I think, why you should do things. I mean,
Absolutely.
and the side effect is, of course, people get to know you and people ask you things and also your network expands, which was not something that was a side effect, which is great, but it's not. That's also how I met you, because I met you via Michael Humble. He was, I don't know, tagging your name all the time, and I was like, who is this person? And that's by the way the reason. So what are the side effects that you did not knew in the beginning when you started?
Well, on the positive side, indeed, to meet incredible people and to also get help from these incredible people. As a negative side effect, you get a lot more requests
Okay.
from people who are not maybe willing to do the work.
Okay.
So, for example, a lot of people want to use my Facebook group Freelancers in Belgium for various reasons, and then I'm thinking, like, why don't you just build your own community instead of using mine?
Okay. Yeah. They're trying to sell or pitch or push their stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and I also probably also thanks to my network also get much more speaker requests, and this I didn't really expect, but it's something I enjoy a lot because it can help me move my costs.
Okay. So what are the topics that you are public speaking about?
Mostly about empowering freelancers,
Okay.
but also sometimes around LinkedIn and marketing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Now, a lot of people want to jump, and because when I hear your story a little bit from Volvo, is that I'm not going to say you were tired of the corporate environment, but a lot of people think a freelancer life is like you do whatever you want, you do whenever you want, where you want it. But still, a lot of people are afraid to leave their, I wouldn't say corporate, to their job, to exchange their time for, I wouldn't say freedom, but they're afraid to jump.
Absolutely.
Is that also something that that you talk about? I mean now you if I would ask you that the same question like five years ago when you're working at Volvo, I mean, I assume that you also are having that kind of fear to jump, because
Of course I did.
what I'm going to do, how I'm going to pay my bills, am I any good? The imposter syndrome. Do I have something to tell? Do I have something to offer? I mean, I imagine that you sometimes also get these kind of questions from people who want to start.
Absolutely.
And what do you answer then? Just do it?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
I say freedom comes with responsibility. Do your research. Have some reserve in terms of money, because the first year is probably going to be quite rough. And price your services high enough. What else? Yeah, network. That I would say to every professional.
Now, you mentioned two interesting things. The first one is price your price high enough, your rate high enough. I am convinced that there is a link between. My wife is a freelancer. There is a link between the rate you're asking and the image you have of yourself, of your self-worth.
Yes. Absolutely. But it's also about the value that you provide.
Of course. But value is a very subjective thing, eh? I mean, if you look at, for instance, she's a photographer. I mean, you have photographers who ask this for a day, and they have another photographer is going to ask that for another day, and then you can debate about the quality, etc., etc. So, but it's the pricing value thing is a very. I mean, I think a lot of freelancers, that's at least what I assume, they just take a job. Maybe it's not 100% fitting what they really can offer. And then they work 100 hours a week doing something that they don't enjoy and maybe cannot even deliver the quality that they want or that the customer is asking. I mean, what advice do you give them? Do you say, wait until you have a project which is like 80% fitting with you, or just go?
How I started was I did a lot of volunteering because I didn't dare to ask for money, and I also wanted to network. My first 5 customers I got thanks to volunteering. Okay,
so and. You didn't have to ask for money. They said, no, Jenny, we're going to pay you.
No. Like after that, the volunteering was over. Then I asked, is there a way to work together and actually get paid as well?
Okay.
And then they usually came up with a proposition, and then we could start working together.
So actually the conclusion is, or the advice is, show first your value, and then the price will, and then you can ask for the price instead of the other way around.
And also... it's also a way for you to see if you like working with that customer.
Yeah.
Because there you have the ways of working, the way of communication, and the respect from both sides.
Yeah, the values. Do you also have fired a customer because the expectations, the way they work is not fitting your values, and you think better it's better that you find somebody else, because I think we don't have a real click, and it's best of both of us to have a healthy relationship like this, but no longer work together?
I don't think I've ever properly fired a customer, but I have kind of been fired because I was too entrepreneurial. Yes. So that means that instead of just doing the task at hand, I was always trying to improving everything.
Yeah. Interesting. Now, the second thing you mentioned, which triggered me, was of course network. Now, I mean, I get I get some LinkedIn requests, and from people which I don't know. They then I accept them, and they immediately start pitching, and they say, I have these bodies to offer. Are you interested in? And I'm like, I mean, I'm not even in that business. I find that very repelling, to be honest. I mean, that's for me not networking. I mean,
no.
Is that still today, especially with things like LinkedIn? I mean, I wouldn't say in like 10 years ago, LinkedIn was more like a CV tool, but networking was really old school. You just meeting somebody in a room, and you knew it was a networking event, so this means that you could approach that person and then you can talk about things. But the thing was that if you're going to pitch something within the what I want to say, if you're with an intention of what's in it for me about taking stuff, I mean, then you will not get a lot out of networking, because networking is actually long term. And like with everything, I mean, it's actually starting a relationship. I mean, you're not going to go on a first date and ask her to marry, or him, I assume, unless it's married at first sight. But it's a little similar. And still, I see people making those mistakes. Do you, as a community, how do you say that, host, do you also speak to persons who have a not correct behavior?
No,
you just
ignore.
I ignore.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because if they don't have the time or respect for me, why should I have the time and respect for them?
Okay. Maybe
I rather spend my time on nice people.
Yeah. Now I have a more delicate question. Do you think you're a woman? Is it easier? How do you say that? I'm going to phrase it like that. If you're an introvert person, I mean, networking has nothing to do with being extrovert or introvert. But I can imagine if you're a freelancer and you are a more introverted type, that you have to cross some kind of boundaries for yourself to, get out there and to speak to somebody else. Do you also, how do you say that? Just advise people just do it, or do you create some kind of emotional safety or something, or how do you approach that?
Believe it or not, I'm an introvert.
Okay.
And how I solved it is in two ways. One is social media. So I'm very active on LinkedIn, and that's perfect for an introvert, because then I'm in control all the time. Another way how I'm in control every time is that I'm the event organizer. Yeah, okay. Because then everybody knows me, and I don't have to do the effort.
Okay.
But because an introvert, that means that you get exhausted from having too much interaction with people.
Yeah. So you have
I also try to, when I meet people, try to do it in small groups or one-to-ones.
Okay. Yeah, similar for me too. So you need also time to reload your batteries, because you had too much. What is the term? Prikkels is the word. Yeah.
I know what you mean.
Yeah. So that's it's sucking up a little bit too much energy. So you need to be alone for a while. Okay. Now, the funny thing is that we have LinkedIn. We're going to talk about it in a minute. I mean, I always thought that. I mean, some people believe that all these digital tools like social media is going to completely replace the more physical networking. Because it's not because you have a connection request with somebody that you have a relationship with somebody. What is your view on that?
Well, if I look back at this exceptional year of 2020, 2021, I realized I'm working very closely with a lot of people that I've never met in real life, and it works. It's not the same, but it works.
Okay. Well, you miss the energy of being in a room with people and debating. Absolutely. And co-creating, of course. I mean, I can imagine that. Now,
I notice when I have the occasional in-person meeting or go out for a walk with someone, that I have extra energy and extra positive vibes. So it's definitely important.
Yeah, also the fact is, right now, I mean, we're looking at the screen. I think I'm looking in your eyes, but you're looking somewhere in your camera or whatever, and that makes it. And also the lighting for me is not that great, so this means that you cannot see, the other person, and the non-verbal, the body language, you cannot see it, and that makes it a little bit harder.
And normally I would try to at least stand up when I have events. If I'm hosting or moderating online events, to at least stand up to get that dynamic.
Yeah, makes sense. Now, you asked me the questions up front, which is actually something I never do. So I'm not going to ask you the question if freelancing, if there is a difference between now and 10 years ago, since you did not do that 10 years ago. Have you a vision on freelancing now and within 10 years? Do you think a lot of people, because that's an idea that I heard like a couple of years ago, that a lot of people that we're going to move into a world where more people are becoming to become an influencer, and they're going to do different jobs. Like for me, I work in sales, but I'm also a musician. So these are two separately, and also a podcaster, of course. These are three separately things, but I like them all. And freelance is actually the biggest vehicle to combine those three.
Absolutely. I think you answered my question yourself. And that's why I'm so passionate about it as well, to empower people to live in their own terms, whether it's about combining multiple interests or whether it's about having more time for your family or your interests, or if you're a night person and the corporate world only allows for morning, so that you can be the best version of you.
Okay. Now, what I really like about you is your energy and your purpose. When you talk about the freelancing, you can really feel that your intention is like 100% pure, and it's really beautiful to see and to feel that energy. Now, what are your ambitions with the freelance community? You want to make be the world's freelance community host, organizer? I mean, I can imagine with that kind of passion and fire that you have, I mean, at night when you're sleeping, at least I assume that you're sleeping, I mean, your dreams must be full of, some of them, of ideas in your head of I can do this or I can do that. What's next?
It's a great question, and it's something that I actually made a call for a business coach to help me figure that one out, because
that's the post on LinkedIn you posted. Yes. Yeah.
So my problem is that on one hand, I want to live the freelance dream, so be completely free to do whatever I want with whomever I want at whatever time I want, and earn a living from it. But I also feel like, thanks to the positive vibes from the community and the need of people, that I could and I should build something big so that I can empower as many people as possible to live their dreams.
Okay, cool.
So I'm a bit conflicted there, because I feel like if I start doing that, then I will lose my freedom. But if I don't do that, a lot of other people will lose theirs.
That's a very interesting one that you mentioned. That's the same, I wouldn't call it inner dialogue that I have myself. Is that because I referred you a coach, which is actually my coach. It's somebody I interviewed on the podcast. Because the thing is, I mean, I'm also a very passionate guy. So this means if I believe in something, I want it, I'm going to do it. But this also means that then I come into a kind of phase where I'm always about action. I mean, I started with releasing one podcast per week, one episode. To this week, I released 3. And like today, there were 2. Of course, everything is programmed because it's when I'm meeting someone, I'm like, this is an interesting person. And then I'm going to ask. But the thing is, of course, in the combination with the family and, playing music is a little bit... Yeah, I cannot perform at concerts except for YouTube, but it's not the same. It's combining 2 jobs, and especially when with the 3.5 year young son, I mean, which I found actually the most important in my life. I have the tendency to, when I go into this kind of focus zone and I go, action, then I did that in the past. I lost like my hair. Is the fact that I realized that I put my ladder into the wrong mountain, and I'm like, okay, I have achieved all of this, but is this really what I wanted out of my life? Because maybe I missed putting my son to bed or whatever things because I was never at home, or I didn't give him my attention. So that's why I hired a coach. and the first thing that she did was to decrease 50% of my time. So I had 50% of my time in action doing the things, and the other 50% I need to unfocus. So this means like, yeah, and not with Netflix things like that, but really being still and I wouldn't say self-reflecting and really asking myself, what do I really want? How do I visualize my life that I really want? Instead of just being in the action. Because the thing is, when you lose yourself, for me toch, when I lose myself in action, I cannot be aware anymore of what I really want in life.
Yeah.
Is that resonates with you?
A little bit, but still, how much should you self-reflect? At some point you will have to
you have to take action. You have to take action, of course. Yeah, but the thing is, of course, is that at the end you want to have a life full of freedom. So this means that, and there is no such a thing as a destination, of course, but it's finding that right balance of all the activities that really resonate with who you are. Because I can imagine that there's some things that you are doing that maybe are not so much part who you are, or you don't like, or don't give you energy, but you do it anyway, subconsciously, and you're not even aware of it, and therefore you need to take that time. Of course, the assignment is not do that for 3 years. No, it's like do that for 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Eh?
Yeah.
So to reflect on that. Did you, by the way, found your coach?
I did find 3.
3? So you're working with 3 coaches at the same time?
I think I will. I haven't started working with them yet, but I think I will work with 2 of them at the same time, figuring out different aspects, and then once I have my action plan, then I will go to the 3rd coach.
Okay. Without calling any names, can you explain the difference between the 2? Why is the one more for the practical business side, and the other one is more for I don't know, your mindset or something, or?
Yes. So just based on what I know about them and the level of interaction that we had, I think the mindset one needs to be a little bit kinder.
Okay.
So that I can open up and be transparent and honest about everything, to really open up everything. And then the action coach, basically when we had our call, he was just like, it's time to kick your ass.
Okay, that's typical, of course, eh?
Yeah. So based on that.
And what do you expect by going into these coaching sessions? I mean, do you have for yourself, like within 3 months, I want to be there?
All the coaches asked that question.
Yeah. But...
in the intake sessions, and the biggest thing is clarity.
Clarity.
Because I feel like I have so many, like you said yourself, so many ideas, so many directions I can take. So I would like to get help with reflecting what's the right course to take.
Cool. How young are you, if I may ask?
I'm 36.
36. Look, that's cool. Now, one of the other things that you're doing is LinkedIn.
Yes.
When did you get into LinkedIn? Was that like 3 or 4, 5 years ago when you were studying like email marketing and all the other things?
No, it was when I started to be a freelancer.
Yeah.
My biggest threshold for being a freelancer was actually to get clients. That scared the hell out of me.
Okay, interesting.
Like picking up the phone and calling someone I don't know and sell my services. That's how I thought it was going to be. I thought, no, that this is awful. I can't do that. It's scary. It's full of rejection potential. I can't do that. And then because I was getting more and more involved with the digital marketing world, I realized that LinkedIn was getting traction because it was the time when Microsoft bought LinkedIn.
Yep.
So they changed the algorithms so that it became something more engaging and not just a
CV portal, yeah.
And I started following some of these LinkedIn gurus, and then there was one guru that said that you have to do to be an expert. And then I thought, how can I become an expert about LinkedIn? How can I use this platform to my advantage? So I started a content challenge of 30 days where I posted something every day. And I was thinking, like, who would want to listen to a little starting freelancer like myself? So I had also the imposter syndrome. But I thought, but my fear of cold calling was bigger than my fear of publishing on LinkedIn or knowing will LinkedIn work, because I thought if LinkedIn works, it will make my life so much easier. And that was really good. So that content challenge and the report after the content challenge was really my start of and then I started getting even requests to do LinkedIn workshops.
Interesting.
And then that in combination with my access to freelancers and knowing also that this is a big pain point, I also started organizing workshops specifically for freelancers. Because there's a lot of freelancers who just want to do their trade, but they don't want to do the promotion.
Yeah. But to be quite open, recording this, having this great conversation is the easy part. But the promotion of it is the biggest part. I mean, email letters and getting email addresses and LinkedIn and Instagram and Facebook groups and things like that. That's it takes me more time to promote it than to create it. But the thing is, if you don't promote it, how can you share your gift with the world? How can you let the world know that you are here? Indeed. Because it's a wasted opportunity. It's wasted work if you don't show it. Yeah. An interesting one. The imposter syndrome. Yes. Is it still something for you? Because sometimes I have that. Because the thing is that I don't want to compare, but sometimes it happens. The other one has more audience. It's more beautiful graphics, whatever. And I don't know, sometimes it pops and then you doubt about yourself and then you get like, I know, is it universe or something? Then I get a DM from Instagram, a voice message from somebody I don't know who says, wow, that was a great conversation. Like, for instance, today, the thing right now, I can imagine people are listening and they're like, I want to become a freelancer, but I don't have the guts. She did it. She is not so perfect as she looks like. I mean, maybe I can also do that. Maybe also I can find a coach. And just those small messages that they give you fire again, and they're like, okay, whatever. Is it something that you also work on that, or you don't suffer anymore from that syndrome? I still suffer from it sometimes, but the more you do, the bigger your comfort zone gets, and the less you suffer from it. So that's what I would say. Try to go out of the comfort zone as much as possible, and then your comfort zone gets bigger. But the problem is then you get addicted to that little adrenaline feeling that you also have when going out of the comfort zone. So then it will become more and more challenging to come up with doing things that creates these butterflies in your stomach. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. Is there an area that you are right now exploring that you're like, it's like tipping your toes? You mentioned you studied 7 years ago a podcasting course in university or high school, and Is there an area at this moment next to freelancing, next to LinkedIn, that you are, I don't know, TikTok or whatever, that you want to taste and maybe, but still are a little bit reluctant?
Well, right now, so far I've only worked by myself.
Yeah.
So now I'm working more on working with people.
Okay.
And that's a big, how do you call it? A challenge, because it's about, in a way, losing control. But I have now more than 30 community managers working for the cause of freelancers in Belgium, contributing with their time and expertise for free. So to manage that is a big challenge, but it's a challenge that I accept with gratitude and with pleasure.
Because you don't want to, it's your baby who is getting bigger and bigger, and so other people are involved, so you want to make sure that your baby has still the same, I wouldn't say values or principles.
Yeah.
Once when you started, I assume.
Indeed. And then it's also a big change from going from being the actor to change it to be the director.
Yeah, it's like being in an orchestra when you play the flute or the guitar, and then suddenly you are the guy with the stick in front, and you only have a stick, so the other ones have to play, and you have to make sure they are playing together, and they are creating beautiful music and not some kind of
so the tasks completely, the work completely changes.
Excellent. Now, if you would go back in time, Jenny, 3-4 years when you started, what are the three things that the lessons that you would say to yourself? Because you're starting as a freelancer, what are the lessons you would say to yourself?
Well, what helped me a lot was to dedicate the first year just to explore.
Okay.
So I didn't say no to anything. So I was doing tequila tastings, cowboy parties. I was doing networking events of various kinds. I didn't care. I just said yes and did it, and I learned a lot. And I learned a lot which types of clients that I like to work with and what I was good at.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be like have a buffer, have a buffer for money. Keep your costs as low as you can, so that you can afford to explore.
Mm-hmm.
Second tip is network, and that means help as many people as you can. It will come back. And publish content consistently.
Okay. And
show your expertise.
And that content needs that to be perfect, because a lot of people, they want to bring out content, but they are always trying to find that kind of perfection, but they don't release it. Because my first video that I did 1 year ago, the audio sucked and the video sucked, but I did it anyway to get that. Otherwise, because I recorded 5 times, and it was not like what I wanted in my head, but I just released it because I had to push myself to get the next step. Otherwise, I wouldn't have taken the next step.
Yeah.
What's your advice on that with the content? You can't tell me that the first thing that you brought out was immediately perfectly.
No, of course not. But what I've noticed, and my most successful posts are simply questions. So it's about giving the attention to the audience instead of talking and sharing yourself, but to ask insights and input from your audience. That's really works like wonders, and then you really create a connection and feel good.
Where do you get the inspiration of your questions?
My life. So, for example, hey, I need a business coach.
Yeah.
Hey, how do you select a business coach? Those are the things I'm struggling with right now. Before it was, hey, I'm doing my first speech for Toastmasters. I'm nervous, help.
Is your big dream also doing in TEDx?
No.
No, Okay.
I will do it if I will get asked to do it, but I will not.
Okay. Now, if we go back 20 years ago, so then you were 16, around 16, 18, imagine that. And you can go back with, and you're meeting the Jenny of when she's 16 years, 18 years young. What would you tell her?
2 things. Don't stress about not knowing what you want to do when you grow up. And network. I have done a lot of things to realize my dreams. For example, the biggest things is move abroad. That was a dream of mine. And to start a business, also a big dream of mine. And I've done those, but I wish I would have networked more because it would have made everything so much easier.
Cool.
And don't stress about knowing what to do. That was constantly on my mind until 6 years ago. It's nicer than just to explore different things, just to figure out what is it that you are good at. I like the Ikigai diagram. So that means what you're good at, what the world needs, what the world is willing to pay for.
Yeah.
What you like.
Are you reading books?
Yes.
What is one of your favorites you're reading right now, or you have read?
I just finished a book about negotiation.
Is it from Chris Voss?
Yes.
It's, the Never Split the Difference.
Yes.
Is it good?
It's excellent. I loved it.
Okay. It was one of the next one on my list to buy and to read, because I heard him talk a lot, and you see him popping up everywhere. I mean, in TEDx, in Isle of Marketing podcast, wherever he is there. I mean, I haven't read the book. Is there one golden nugget that you can say, this is something that I learned that I did not know?
Basically, one is give autonomy to your counterpart. So have them say no at one point. That was something that for me was completely opposite of...
Because you thought you needed them to say yes.
Yeah. So that was an interesting...
Okay.
Because if they can say no at one point, then they will be more open. And then I thought that makes so much sense.
And next to books, are there any other people that you admire, that you follow? I mean, like the Gary Vaynerchuk's type of guys, girls? Is there anybody who is, I wouldn't say a role model, but that you like? One day I would like to have a conversation with him or her.
That would be Adam Grant.
Okay.
So he dedicates his life to making work suck less.
Okay. Oh, that's the guy from To Give or To Take.
Yeah.
The bold guy. Yeah. Did you read that? Did you read that book, To Give or Take?
I've read his book Originals.
Ah.
And also he has also a nice podcast.
I know what I will send you the book Give or Take from Adam Grant. It's a beautiful book, because you're talking about networking, and to give or to take, one of the characters, the persons he's talking about, is actually one of the biggest networkers in the world, and he's mentioned in the book, and it's amazing, and it's really about the question. Okay, this is the thing. You say, I'm going to help other people. You're giving a lot, but some people are takers. They just take from you. I mean, they take from everybody. And then you have like the matchers. They have like, I give you something, you give me something back. And of course, then you have the more, some people are, I used to be like that. I mean, I used to be in my private life, personal life, a giver. And then in professional life, I thought I need to do give and take, to give and to give back. So I had to match. And when I read that book, I was like, no, fuck it. I'm going to be me. I'm just a giver. And sometimes you meet people who are going to take advantage of that. Of course, luckily, that's the minority. And yeah, I mean,
indeed.
And then it's I mean, and it doesn't mean to be a giver that you have to let everybody roll over you, of course. Eh?
Indeed.
And that's and also the conclusion of the book is that the people who are losing in life, are the givers, but the people who are winning are also the givers. So I'm going to send you that book. It's a great book. It's a really recommendation, and it fits perfectly in your street about the networking.
Perfect.
Now, Adam Grant, what is for you a crazy? Well, I mean crazy, eh? It needs to be so crazy, a crazy dream. Like for me, if tomorrow Chris Martin would call and he said, Peter, our guitar player, and I hope not, he has something with his hands, he cannot play. Are you in to go and tour with Coldplay for a year? I would say, hell yeah. I mean, I don't like even their music. I like their shows and their energy. The live shows, they're amazing. Eh?
Don't say that out loud. You will not have your...
Okay. But I mean, it's great music. But I mean, I'm so fan of them, of their live shows, their CDs. But that's one of my things, I think. What is for you one of such a crazy dream? Or you don't have any crazy dreams?
Well, I'm glad that I could get the questions in advance, because I needed to think about this one, because I'm quite a realistic person. And I think I have quite realistic dreams as well, but rather crazy. So this year, I want to be on Belgian national TV to talk about freelancing. At one point, when we're allowed, I want to organize a Freelancers in Belgium cruise.
Cruise. Cool.
And when I'm old and bored, I want to write a detective book.
Cool. Yeah. But the first two, especially the first one, I mean, I'm pretty sure that with your connections, I mean, it's quite easy.
Yes, those things will happen.
Do you know things like the law of attraction? Do you know that? Are you aware of those kind of things?
I've heard about it. I think it's a little bit too
woolly.
Yes, but I do believe in the principle that your focus determines your reality. And also that you should tell your dreams to everyone who's willing to listen, because that's how they come true.
Yeah, that's true. Eh? It has also a lot to do with the mindset, of course. Eh? If you always see negative things and problems, that's true. Okay, is there anything else that we did not touch upon that I wouldn't say I forgot to ask, but that you want to mention?
Let's see. You mentioned a few times already, just do it. I would say, indeed, just do it, but do your research and have a backup.
I still have a question for you. The one popped in my head. Who is Jenny within 10 years?
Oof. I wrote down my age then, so I'm now 36. In 10 years, I will be 46, and that really was confronting. But answering this question was also very confronting, because I think I would want to do pretty much the same thing as I'm doing now, with probably adding a house, a family, and a dog.
Okay.
And also to have a month or two, a year in my summer cottage in Finland, which I bought last year.
Ah, okay, cool.
That was also a dream of mine, and that came true because I had my bucket list in my toilet, and then my brother came to visit me, and my two reasons why I didn't want to buy a cottage just yet was I didn't have enough money, and I was afraid that if I go and visit my family in Finland, everybody knows that if you have a house, that's a lot of time that goes into fixing it, that I will never see my family, And then my brother said, why don't we buy a summer cottage together? But then those both two problems were solved.
What is for you? You have now been living quite a while in Belgium. What's for you like the biggest difference in culture between like the Belgians, or it's more the Flemish part you're living in Belgium, and Finland? Because I don't know a lot of Finnish people, so I cannot imagine what the difference is between life here and there. I know that alcohol is more expensive there, if I'm correct. What for you the biggest? Did you have to adapt or to?
No, I think both Finnish and Belgians are rather humble people.
Okay.
What I do like more here than there is in Finland, I feel a bit like it's a punishment if you're enjoying your life a little bit too much, that you should be working and you should be suffering a bit to be like a good human. Whereas here in Belgium, I see people, they work hard, but they also play hard.
Yeah.
There's people really enjoy life, they enjoy good food, they enjoy culture, they simply enjoy life, whereas in Finland it's a bit less. And here in Belgium, people also go out more. In Finland, because of the distances and probably the cold and the darkness, people spend a lot of time at home, whereas Belgians are always out and about, and that's a nicer dynamic, of course, when it's not Corona.
But you live in Ghent, eh?
Yes.
And you go to the Ghent Feesten also?
Oh, that's my favorite.
Is it?
Yes.
Then you have to go when it's over.
Oh. I will show you how much of a fan I am of Ghent. Here is a 3-meter painting of Ghent.
Okay,
cool. I posted about that on LinkedIn.
That's on the St. Michiels plain.
Yes.
Near the water. Well, when you go to the Hense Feesten, when it's open again, then you have to come to the Groentemarkt. Then I will play there.
Awesome.
Yeah. Jenny, thanks a lot for the conversation. I really liked it. Thanks a lot for the great tips and advices to share some of your insights of your journey, and I'm 100%, 300% sure that that whomever who is listening will be inspired, maybe to take action of their own life and to follow their dreams and their passions. I will share in the comments all your social media links, so Perfect. That. If
this conversation led to some kind of action, I would also love to hear it. So just connect and reach out.
Of course. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Hey, it's Peter here. Thanks a lot for listening to What's on Your Mind. Looking forward to your opinions and comments. And don't forget to subscribe on psgrow.com and leave your email address to stay tuned for future episodes. Bye.